Max, you look tired. Is university life getting to you? Partying too much?
Well, I went out last night.
I can tell.
I didn't sleep. I slept like for 2 hours. So, I mean, I don't feel tired, but I may look it.
I think you're a vampire, personally, but
yeah.
You have some weird sleep hours. I don't know if it's a Finnish thing because JQ has some weird sleep hours, but anyway, at least it's not 4 o'clock in the morning for me or you, and it's a decent time. So thank you for your time.
Yeah.
We are not doing a 5-hour podcast this week. We did a long enough one last week, so we're just going to do a recap. Not even a recap, just a preview of the race coming up, a general chit-chat and a general catch-up. It's going to be a fast podcast. A short podcast this week. We'll do these from time to time. So, you know what, Max? It's time to drop that intro.
Nitro is the glory. Welcome to the No Name RC podcast with your host tonight, Keenan White, aka Lefty the Great, and if you are unlucky, the Finnish village idiot, JQ. This is the RC podcast with no name, but plenty of content. So sit back, relax, and get ready for some serious bench racing.
Yes, people. Yes, indeed. Nitro's the glory, but E-Buggy pays the bills. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode number 145 of the No Name RC podcast. I'm your host, Keenan White, a.k.a. Lefty the Great, and to my... look at that. No hesitation. I know where to point now. And to my virtual right is Max Mort. I'm actually pointing left, but he's to my right virtually. You know what, Max? We're going to have to get... In 2022, because I think you're going to continue to be a co-host, we're going to have to get a intro done with your name in it and not a Finnish village idiot. More like a Finnish vampire. That's what you're going to call you. Finnish hooded vampire Max. What's up, Max? You're doing university life. You're going to somewhere this week. You're going to like rally this weekend or something like that?
Yeah. Actually, I kind of wanted to talk about it. It's WRC event in Finland. This is the biggest thing in Finland every year. I'm pretty sure this is the biggest this gathers the biggest crowd. It's over 100,000 people go to this one city to watch the rally thing.
So is it a real rally? Is it like you crazy fans that are sitting out in the middle, like standing out in the middle of or getting as close as they can and almost getting hit by rally cars? Is it that type of rally, or is it like a...
Well, I mean, the Finnish safety guidelines are the best in the world, so it's not that crazy. No, but it's actually true. But it's like it's still pretty crazy. It's funny. You can watch videos online. Finnish rally fans are crazy. Everyone has gloves on. Everyone always brings this sort of what do you call it? Like a rope that you can attach to a car. So every time a car goes out, everyone just starts running to the car. They attach the rope, and then they just pull the car on the road in 1 or 2 minutes, and the guy keeps going if the car is still good to go. It's freaking crazy.
Well, I mean, rally is big in Finland anyway. I mean, you guys have nothing else to do besides drink, herd reindeers, and rally cars.
This is the 70th year of this rally happening. It's been going on since 1951.
Wow. So this is the official WRC, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And this time we have at least two Finnish guys running in the WRC class, and both are pretty likely to win, have a good chance to win. So
who are they?
Kalle Rovanperä and Esa-Pekka Lappi.
Yeah. Can we now say that in English?
Yeah. Well, I think that's the you could maybe call Esa-Pekka Lappi EP. That's probably easier. Okay. That's his first name.
Esa-Pekka Lappi.
Yeah.
Awesome. I've never been to an event like that. Are you going with your family, or are you going with friends from school?
Yeah.
Okay. So
I'm going by train, sort of the halfway point, and then they'll pick me up from there, and we'll go with a camper there.
Camper life, caravan life. That's what you call it, caravan.
Yeah.
All right. I'm gonna get on to what I done here this weekend, but first I have to say some thank yous and pay some bills. First off, I like to say thank you to all of the NNRC squad around the world. Without you guys, we can't do this. We got some cool messages. I showed you that message that we got from he's a friend of mine, but it's pretty inspiring when you see messages saying, "Hey, I thought I was into RC before, but you're making me a fan of RC." And that was one of the whole reasons of doing this podcast, is to make RC where people want to watch races around the world. He's excited to watch Buggyland. So that's one of the biggest compliments we can get, I think, as media podcasting. And at the end of the day, that's one of our goals, is to make RC exciting and cool and get us into it and bring some storylines to it. Hence my write-up about Buggyland this weekend, which you guys haven't checked. It's on Instagram and it's on Facebook. Facebook is the better write-up, but check it out. Big race coming up this weekend. So thank you to all the listeners and supporters of the podcast. The numbers have been great lately. You guys seem to be enjoying the podcast. It was a great live last week with Tebow. Thank you to Tebow for his time. I actually think he's going to come on once a month now as a co-host too. He enjoyed it. People enjoyed that. So I'm glad of that. Yeah, so thank you to all the people that joined in. We have over 100 people on last week. Those sour candies were sour, but they weren't as bad as they I thought they would be. They were sour though. They were really sour.
The hot stuff is much worse. I'd say.
I think.
And you're a huge fan of Sour Patch Kids, which I am as well. So
yeah. But this is way worse than Sour Patch Kid.
Oh yeah, definitely, but still.
So, thank you to everybody that tuned into that, and thank you to everybody that donated for the cancer. I think we made like $80, not much, but it's something. So thank you for that. All that money goes to Joe Bain and the Bloomingberry RC Race Way. Thank you to all the patrons of Patreon. We have a Discord chat. We're trying out a beta version. I actually finally got into the Mayako Discord. I've been not going in that, and I've been we've had a NNRC Discord for a while, but I've actually known about Discord for about 2.5 years. My buddy Joseph Mador, he actually kind of hit me to it, but I didn't really pay attention. But I have to say, Discord is freaking awesome, and it's a great platform, and I love it. And the NNRC one is going to be banging too. So we have a Discord. I'm in beta testing with the patrons right now, and then we'll open it up to the public. And I think it's just going to make life a lot easier for me as well with topics and stuff like that. So that's cool. Yeah. Shout out to those guys. They get to help me testing out that. And if you wish to be a patron of the podcast, it helps me, helps everybody. You can. The link is in the written description of this podcast. And of course, we can't do this without our awesome sponsors. They are Mayako. I know it's almost the end of September, but it doesn't look like it's going to be out in September.
Someone said they had the car already.
Yeah, that's just people talking nonsense. Nobody has the car besides Joseph, I believe. People just, I think, talking crap. But yeah, like anything in RC, it's close. But like anything, you know how manufacturing is, Max. You've been there, you've done that. You know how deadlines are with that. So it's just little things, and I think they're trying to. I know people's like, oh, you're making up excuses for Joseph, blah blah blah. Mayako, I said, no, I just know how manufacturing processes work, and RC.
It's not like there's any manufacturer out there who releases a car in time.
Exactly.
Let's be real here.
Of course, this is going to be under a fine tooth comb because it got Joseph involved and all that stuff. But anyway, I've seen some stuff, and I got to say, I am freaking excited. That's all I got to say. This is probably going to be the easiest car to ever work on, ever, and I can't wait. That's going to be great for me. I like easy. Shout out to Beach RC. I have to make a correction. They did not sell out of the MOD race, the Masters of Dirt, but they sold out their pit space. I was talking to Brent this morning. It looks like, man, he's doing good things. He's got some projects in line. And his things, I think this Masters of Dirt race is actually going to become one of the biggest 10-scale races in America at next year. Probably there this year. Yeah. But a lot of people going, a lot of people have fun. Shout out to Beach RC. Thank you for all their support. Hitec RC, of course. I'm loving my RDX Pro 2 charger. Charging up my batteries without any problems. So if you guys want some, check it out. If you want one, check it out. TNR Fuels. Shout out to Chris Nelson and his family. Tekno RC, thank you once again, Tekno, for continuing to sponsor the podcast. We had Tekno, number one Tekno driver, Jared Tebow on. Sun City RC Raceway, they have the The U.S. Open, I would say, is the next big race coming up. And I think we're going to have the majority of people go into that, the American big races. So we're going to see that. There's $5,000 on the line as well. I'm going to get Tim Lime on her to talk about that before it happens, I believe. So shout out to them. Lugs RC, tire company, just released their long wear compound. Check them out. We have coupon codes for them. Manscaped.com, we have a 20% coupon code for them. You can check that out. Papa Willie's Traction Tonic. Prepare for victory with Papa Willie's Traction Tonic. You could go to www.papawillies.net. Pick you up some Traction Tonic. Why should you choose Papa Willie's Traction Tonic? Because it gives you more traction. It's long-lasting, light tire wear, sweet scent, clean application, fast-acting, and feels fresh. You're going to get that sticky feeling all over your hands. You can go to www.papawillies.net. Use the promo code NNRC in all caps and save 10% off your order. Scooter has been a long-time supporter of this podcast, and I greatly appreciate it. Also, shout out to Racecraft USA. Remember, guys, get pitted with a command module. Use the promo code NNRC Lugs. NNRC Squad in all caps, and you will save 10%. The NNRC Lugs is for lugs, but that's all in the written. All this is in the written description of this podcast as well, and in the links. And shout out to Donathan RC. I am thoroughly enjoying my leads. I'm about to order some more because I need some XT90s. But man, Zach's been really good to me. And why should you support Donathan RC? It's a small business that handcrafts its products and made in USA. He's a small business and he does this at home. Quality matters. His products have been high quality. I can vouch for them. I have had no issues with them. Performance, their charge leads, my phone leads are working properly. They charge up things fast. I'm happy with them. And customer service. I can chat to Zach anytime I want. Check him out on Facebook or hit him up on the drcproshop.com. And use that code NONAME10 and you will save 10% off all orders, $50 and more. And shout out to House of RC, RCGP, and of course, Invisible Speed. The course has launched. Joseph is actually going to give me, I'm going to do it actually. I did talk to somebody that has done it, and he said, yeah, it's off the hook. So I can't wait. And he says he's learned more in that course than he has in 20 years of RC. So that's really good to her. And I think this is going to, once people catch on, it's going to boom. It's going to take right off, and it's going to be good. So that's enough rambling about our sponsors. Remember, everybody, showing the sponsor some love shows the podcast some love. If you guys can do that, we greatly appreciate it. There are affiliate links. There are coupon codes. Some save money. Some don't have any coupon codes. But if you're going to show them some love, it helps us out. And it helps us out going to the next year. And we're coming up to the end of the year here. It's now October almost. So if you're a company interested in supporting the podcast and you think this is a great platform to advertise your product, hit us up. We're going to be looking for sponsors for 2022. All right, Max. I do have a couple shout outs real quick. I want to shout out to Hooser RC Hobbyplex. I've gotten to know people there. They've been sending me. This is a very nice 10 scale facility, Max. This is like the OCRC of the Midwest. It's got it's nice. And they are having the J Concepts INS race this weekend, I believe. So good luck to them. They put in a fresh layout. It looks great. I heard Lupus Live is coming back. Bobby Moore made an announcement yesterday that they're coming back. He says, guess who his co-host is? Who do you think his co-host is going to be? I think it's going to be Mark Santamaria. It might be Jeff.
Yeah. I hope it's not Jeff.
We need to get Jeff. I think that relationship has done. But according to Jeff, I need to hit him up and ask him if he's coming back on that. If that means...
Is Jeff still in RC, though?
I think Jeff's about airport life. I did see him do some RC the other day. But I think he's all about making money and being indoor airport life. And also I want to shout out to the DC MCC. They are the Durham the Durham County. I kind of met these guys briefly. I believe they had a podcast, The Bar it was called. And so we kind of keep in touch now and then. And they're I believe it's the guys because, man, some people, I actually have another Facebook group with these exact same initials. You know what I mean? It's for RC track, but one's in Canada and one's in the UK, so I get them confused. But they're starting their new, and they have an outdoors track as well as indoor track. They're starting their new indoor season with new EOS carpet. First round starts October 31st. So shout out to them. Happy birthday to Tony Newland. Clinic RC had him on her a few weeks ago. Good guy, old school racer. And
hey, let me say one thing. For all these tracks that we shout out on this podcast, if any of you guys who are the track organizer, the guy behind the tracks, please make it on House of RC. Please make a profile on House of RC so people can find it, put pictures on it, put all the info on it. It makes our track more visible. It helps the House of RC community grow. And it's good for all of us.
Yeah. There's actually a good plan Joseph has for tracks too, concerning the invisible speed course for beginners and stuff like that. And it would help the tracks out as well, help put some money in the tracks. So I think he's going to do that later. All right, Max, real quick about me. We talked about you're going to WRC. How's university life for you? Are you like hitting the books now, or you're partying? You was partying last night. So,
last night I went out with my friends, but I've been doing a lot of studying actually, probably more than I expected. I've been studying the whole week because I'm leaving for the weekend, so I don't have any time over the weekend to study. So I've been sort of doing some stuff in advance. But yeah, it's been going great. So yeah, I've been kind of now getting into the study mood. So.
Okay, so party mood, like initiation's over, and I get it. It's funny because my buddy Ashton Abdul hit me up yesterday, and he just started university too, but only in America. And so he was showing me what he's doing. He's showing me it's like doing. I gotta build like a go-kart from scratch, so he's studying suspension and all that stuff.
Okay.
So I was just like, wow, it's so crazy. You and Max are both in university at the same time. And it's like one European, one American. And I'm getting, he obviously has the frats and sororities and football and all that stuff. And yours is like, we're close to Russia. That's about it. But
but Finnish like university culture is pretty crazy. Like I'd say if someone from abroad came here, they'd be like, what the fuck's going on here?
Well, I just think Finnish people are crazy anyway. But me, I kind of been into boating, so I got my new the boat that I'm actually chasing the record in. I finally got it. We put it together. Me and my mate put it together Saturday, and we took it. Dude, we went out to I knew I probably shouldn't have done this, but I knew it was going to be packed, man. We went out to where I normally go test on a Sunday afternoon. It was fucking packed out there. Jesus, it was like probably over 100 plus people there just swimming. Luckily, they don't swim like out in the deep. It was jet skis out there playing around like because it's the biggest little lake. I was like, no, we're not going to run her because it was like too many people and just like my mates, let's just go. We took the table, we took the boats, and we had fun, man. And put on a show for people with the catamaran. I flipped it a few times, and then luckily there was people to go get it. I kind of had it on stock props, and man, I think this thing was doing about 75 miles an hour. I didn't have my GPS in it. I have 2 GPSs. I mounted that. But it was a good day of just running boats for a couple of hours, putting on a show for people, and we came home. It was me, my son, and my buddy. And then that was Sunday, and then I put on these new props on the new Animal Cat to go test out. Luckily, they ain't my fully modified props. We went out there yesterday afternoon. It was quiet. It was a little choppy. In this cat, we can't run it in chop. It has to be like glass, water like glass, to reach the speeds that I want to hit. So I put this new props on them. Got out, did one run, like 1-2 loops, went on to say, let me see how this feels. I only got it up to 94 kilometers, about just under 60 miles an hour, because it's so rough. It was like, going to flip. So I'm like, all right, let me take one more speed pass. Lost a freaking propeller, like way out, like in no man's land. Because it takes 2 propellers, right? So then I had to hobble it in, and then I had to go swimming because I couldn't make it in. So to say that every day is not a good day, but it was fun. But this is the teething problems of boating, like losing props and all this type of stuff. But fucking enjoying it. So that's all that matters. And maybe I'll get the speed rack is 121 now. So I don't know. I have a lot of work to do. But I'm going to get it wrapped up and all the stuff before I go through all that. And then I'm going to go out there and like do an actual day of testing and all that stuff here soon. So I can't wait. Anyway, anybody into RC boats, let me know. Because next, I want a gas boat next. That's my next project. I'm building a gas boat. So I'm going all in for boats. It's man, like yesterday, you was like, oh, I can't I was like, well, I want to record, because actually we were supposed to have a guest this week, but kind of didn't work out. You have to go to rally, so I was like, well, let's do a quick podcast. Let's talk about Buggyland, all this type of stuff. Yesterday I went out there. I had fun. It's like, hey, go pick up my son from school. We go out there. He gets to go swimming. He drives little boats. I get to do some testing. My mates out there. This is what RC is about sometimes, and I'm enjoying it and I have fun. Yeah. So, all right, Max. You know what? I think it's time to go into some RC news. We don't have much RC news, but this week's RC news is brought to you by TNR Fuels and Hitec RC. TNR Fuels. Here at the NNRC, we are all about that glory, and that glory is nitro. TNR Fuels is the hottest fuel on the market, owned and operated by Chris Nelson and his family, made by racers for racers. TNR Fuels is currently available throughout the USA and Australia, and I believe they're opening up distribution markets around the world. For more information to support the company or purchase some fuel, visit www.tnrfuels.com or contact Chris Nelson directly at chris@tnrfuels.com or find them on House of RC or Facebook. Thank you, TNR Fuels, for your support. I look forward to running their fuel when I get to California here soon. Maybe in Costa Rica, because I heard the guys in Costa Rica are getting it soon too. Yeah, we might be going to Costa Rica. Me and Joseph. That's another thing.
Costa Rica, wow.
Yeah.
I made an essay about it in high school, what's it called? Primary school.
Well, they race there, and it's a pretty decent race scene there. Mm-hmm. So we might go there.
Yeah, Costa Rica is actually a pretty good country.
Yeah.
Big fan.
I'm looking forward to going there if we do. Also, I'd like to shout out that this is also brought to you by Hitec RC. I'm thoroughly enjoying my RDX2 Pro charger. Hitec RCD is a leader in RC systems, delivering the highest performance and reliability, supported by a dedicated customer service personnel. The HSBC 938 TH1TH servos have efficient brushless motors, titanium gears, low consumption, constant output, and a metal case. They also regenerate power back into your battery and braking. The RDX2 Pro charger, as I can attest because I'm using it, can charge I'm charging 2 6-pack cells. It takes more than 45 minutes. I'm also not charging at high amperage, but it gets the job done. I can monitor it via the Bluetooth app on my phone. I can start, finish everything, see how much power has been put in, how much cells going to get right on my phone. Right on my phone. So good. I enjoy it. Trust in Hitec. Man. Yeah, man, the future. Making RC easier. Sold out app, House of RC, all that type of stuff. Trust in Hitec, your server and charger headquarters. Visit hitecrcd.com, where to buy, to find your nearest retailer. Thank you, Hitec, for your support. I got your banner there. I got to put it up the back so you can see it better. That's this week. All right, so RC news, Max. We actually don't have much. We had quite a bit last week. So I just got to come off. I got to say, Live RC, Tyler Hooks wrote an article this week. It looks like they're going to make a point series using race time events, or he made a point series using race time events and the nationals as well as the dirt events. Well, that seems a bit familiar and already done.
Yeah, I wonder who came up with that idea.
Some idiot. Well, he's an idiot.
Yeah.
He even made a trophy for it. He even drove 700 miles to go get the trophy, So, I didn't. I just was a passenger. I mean, this is great. I saw what they were doing. They used a lot more races. They used 2 drops, but the point system seems familiar. Not as good as your point system. And I mean, I guess they say imitation is the greatest form of flattery. I just want them to do it better. Do it. You probably, Live RC has more reach than me. So do it properly, get proper graphics and do it properly and all that type of stuff. But it's been done and already given the trophy this year. We did 4 races. They're doing more races. We did no drops. We did it like a real series. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think there should be no drops. And you shouldn't have SIC in there, because that's still sort of not a low profile race, but it's not the biggest race in there.
This year
you have PMB, PNC, and all the big ones.
Well, to be
4 or 5 races.
To be fair, SIC actually does have a big. It's starting to get popular because it's the first big race. So you'll see Mayfield and all the guys there. But I agree.
I mean, but this year it wasn't
it should kind of start with DNC in it. You know what I mean? Because that's the biggest race.
Yeah, for sure. DNC will be the first one for sure.
But it's good. Hopefully, there were a few people that said, the Keenan and the No Name RC podcast done this already. We got no traction with that. We kind of did that just to prove that it could be done, and it makes it better for racing. But if it goes somewhere, great. I mean, we need this. We need this. And I think it's just, well, I mean, mine was just American too, because that's the only people that were racing. So it is what it is. I hope they make it good and better if they continue to do it. So speaking of rankings, in top 25 dropped their list. I swear, I feel for Rick sometimes. Every time he drops a new ranking after a race, I swear he has to spend like 2 days explaining how this works. So not much change here besides Ryan Mayfield still on top. Jared Tebow moved up 3 spots. And Ongaro and Ranafog moved on. It's going to be interesting to see after Buggyland, because a lot of the Europeans that are on this race are going to be there. Seth Van Dalen moved up 5 spots. He didn't even make it to the A-main. That's crazy.
This is, like, me and JQ were probably the biggest critics of top 25. And it was because of the fact that there were clear issues with the list, that things that didn't make any sense. Like it didn't work properly. Mm-hmm. And the issue was like those weren't fixed. We weren't mad at it didn't work properly. We were mad at like the issues weren't fixed. So now I think like now the list looks pretty okay. Tebow's a bit too high up there. Maybe Berton too. Rest of it looks okay. There's some drivers that are a bit misplaced. But I think like what he should do, and this would also make his life much easier, is do separately for Europe and America, and then do three lists. So Europe, America, and then do a third one, which is estimation of the two combined. Mm-hmm. So then people will have the idea that, okay, this is an estimation. This is not the actual ranking or actual list. This is the estimation how these drivers would rank up. And obviously DNC and the Worlds will have more effect on that list, because those are races where more drivers combine. But right now the issue is that the list is very heavily favoring Americans, and it's been all forever. And it's based on past results, and those past results are being graded by the list. So the issue is that when the list started out, it was only Americans. So
I don't think so.
Every time you add a race, it was like even like some like sick cross was in the like counting. So the issue is that when you started out with a false set of sort of parameters, and then you build on top of that, the results are going to be false. So I think that's the issue with the list. And I think he would have better results if he counted American races and European races separately, and then try to make a list combining the two. Mm-hmm. And I think that way he will have better results with the list. And because I think there is a place for a list like this, and I wish he will continue doing this, and I think he will. And he has no reason to stop doing it. So yeah, I think one change he could make is introduce 2 more lists, Europe and America, and then have this list as an estimation. Well, so I think that could be a good added
I would agree with you. I talk to Rick on a regular basis, so he'll probably message me after he listens to this and say, Max, I know what he's talking about. Well, it's not as easy. I kind of mentioned that to him, can we have an American and European list? But to be honest, I don't think, I think he just does this for the fun of it. I don't think he does this for profit, I don't think he has actually really cared about the list that much since he started it. Mm. Like he just does it. He has his algorithm which he uses, and he just like updates it after every race. So it's not like he does any real work for this list at this point. Mm-hmm. So, but I'd like to see him. Oh yeah, and it's but I'd like to see it being thought about it more. Maybe adjust some things to make the results look better. Mm-hmm. And there's obviously like you will never have a list where Kyle McBride is represented correctly, because he just doesn't race big races because he lives in Australia. Mm-hmm. But at least like try to match all the rest of the guys. There's a lot of drivers here that shouldn't be really on this top still 25. On it. Tanner Denny, I don't know what's going on with Tanner Denny. He hasn't showed up to any big off-road race. I think he's doing full scale. I think it's full-time real estate now. That's what it's doing. He's got like
but he was racing. Like he raced DNC, he raced PMB, he raced
Nationals,
some other big races.
Silver State,
yeah, and he was really fast.
Yeah.
He was really fast. So
Mugen ain't paying, man. Mugen ain't paying all money. I'm telling you.
Yeah,
it's good to see. I know. Okay, so before he would leave out Boots' name here because Reds told him not to have it on there. They didn't want his name on there, but I guess either they mended fences or he just doesn't care, and he just said, "All right, I'm just putting his name there."
I think he was a bit silly, but about from Boots, but
yeah, I think so too.
Why would you care?
I would agree. That's just coming from not understanding how it works. But hey, it is what it is.
Yeah,
it is what it is. Next up, IFMAR talks about World Championships. Let's see what IFMAR is saying here, because it probably isn't much that I want to hear about. I know that sounds bad. It says IFMAR has posted some information about World Championship events in 2022. Although a lot of the countries are still under COVID restrictions and travel is not up to the level before 2030, there is some light to be seen. Vaccination level for a lot of countries is over 70%, and before the end of 21, more countries will have reached that percentage. IFMAR board and blocks will try to prepare a calendar for 2022 within the next weeks for 3 or 4 classes, starting somewhere in September 22 till the end of November.
Yeah, that's very normal, I think.
So we're not going to have any. We're not going to have any Euros in June in the summertime.
Oh, but that's EFRA.
Oh, right. So that's what well, they're all the same people. So I got them confused. All right. So they have a whole year. Hopefully travel. All right. So good. So hopefully we got a Worlds next year. Fingers crossed. Because I want to see a Worlds. Let's go IFMAR.
Yeah, I don't. The issue is there's way too many people who are for some reason opposed to the vaccine. So that's really making the rest of our lives really difficult.
What you're going to see is now that America's opened it up for if you're vaccinated to travel, I bet you're going to see a lot of the Europeans headed. DNC is going to be fucking packed.
I hope so.
Because I think you're going to see guys over there. I saw Mark Barufalo sign up for AMS. I don't know. I asked him if he's going. Yeah. So.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah. So we shall see. I asked him if he's going, but he's at Buggyland, so he hasn't answered me. All right. SCRC has the U.S. Open. I'm going to say it again, October 8th to 10th. I'm going to get Tim Lime on there. That's the next big race we have here, so I'm excited about it. I know I mentioned it earlier, but I kind of want to pump it up because, SCRC is a sponsor, and they need a good attendance. You know what I mean? So let's help them. Hey, Max, I got a picture of the Agama buggy on the track with the front shock. Like it is.
Yeah.
Let's put it up here. Let's see if I done this right. Let's see.
Should we go through the design? I can explain some of.
Let's talk about it. Let's put up the picture here, and we can talk about it real quick. So let's share a screen, and where is it? Did I lose it? All right. So here we go. Here's it. If you can see this, this is in action. It looks like it's at Nemo Raceway on a wet oil track. Smooth oil track.
Can you zoom it in a bit?
Actually, there we go.
Yeah, that's good.
There we go, Max.
So pretty much now we see the design of it, and I gotta say I'm not surprised. I pretty much called it, but I still have to say I'm a bit disappointed because this is really not the design I wanted to see. There's still some good things about this design, though. So the biggest benefit of this type of design is definitely the aerodynamic benefit of it. So you won't have the big shock tower in the front. You won't have the shocks blocking the air from the sides. So that's really good. So biggest benefit is aerodynamic-wise. You need to introduce a bigger front wing there. They had, on the photo they released on their Facebook, they had it on there. And they kind of need to redo their body as well to get the benefit of it.
Should it be flatter?
You should probably have like the front end a bit lower, just to get the air flowing over the body instead of just like pushing against the wall. And I'm still wondering how the rear mount is able to withstand any impacts, but apparently
Oh, you mean the rear
it
wing
does.
mount? Rear wing mount.
Yeah,
Just for clarification.
it's pretty crazy that can survive any impact. But if it does, that's pretty good. I'm a fan in that case. But then comes the negatives of this type of design. So the first negative is this type of design probably doesn't have a lower center of gravity. Because if you compare to a regular shock tower design, half of the shock is below sort of the gearbox top. But here with this design, both of the shocks, even though they are smaller, are on top of the gearbox. So center of gravity most likely isn't affected, and worst case, it can be even raised with this type of setup. Depends if they have a different gearbox, lower one. Then
because
it could be
just because the actual height of the shocks having that much weight up that high.
Yeah.
Because when
the
it's
shocks
standing
are
up,
actually quite high up.
Yeah, because when it's standing up,
yeah,
the shocks, it's like, yeah, I get that. I get it. I see where you're coming from.
So that's one thing. Then the second thing that's a really big issue, well, not a huge issue, but something that I can't understand why they didn't do, because the linkage from the arm is attached straight to the shock. That means that all of the weight of the shock is supported by the A-arm, which means that it has all the unsprung mass still in the arm. So you didn't reduce any unsprung mass, and you probably even added some with that linkage system. What they should have instead done is have sort of a lever in there, like a rocker. So you would have the link attached to a rocker, which would then push the shock. This way you would have no added unsprung mass, and you would decrease unsprung mass by quite a lot. So that's one thing I think they should have done. And then the biggest issue of this type of design is the fact that the shock is very short, and also the spring must be pretty stiff. So the speed of the piston is very slow. So it's really hard to make the car act really good over small characteristics of the track. So let's imagine you go over like American style track where there's like small bumps all throughout. This type of shock isn't gonna react to those accordingly. This type of shock will never be fast enough or stay sort of in the speed of the bumps. And that's going to be a huge issue to solve. Also, the really stiff spring, the frequency is pretty high, so the spring doesn't generate grip as well. So those are probably the biggest issues with this type of design, and that's going to be really hard to solve. I would have liked to see them try the cantilever system where the shocks will be sort of in the chassis. That would be much more interesting, and that would be something that would be actually, like, when tuned correctly, could be better. This type of system, I don't really see being a whole lot better unless you have big gains in aerodynamic wise, having bigger front wings, having the body designed so that the air flows over it and stuff like that. For the rear wing, it definitely helps with having the shocks like that aerodynamic wise, but that rear wing design isn't very good. So yeah, there's some good things. It's nice to have something different. I don't think it's faster than the regular car, and I'd say it's kind of hard to even get faster than a regular car with a setup like this. You can test different pistons and stuff like that, and you can get more performance that way, but it's never going to be as good as the shock stood up over bumps and stuff. So yeah, that's sort of my verdict on this. Not a huge fan, but it's cool to see something different. Definitely.
Quick question. So I see here like this, the eyelet shock part of the shock is mounted on the outside of the dog bone, and then the part that will go normally on the top of the shock tower, the mount for that is behind the dog bone. Now my question is, people are asking, are there two shocks on the front here? So where does
yeah, definitely. If you have one shock, the car wouldn't roll.
Right. So I'm just saying, so how are the other shocks, is the other shock just directly behind this, and they're using like one screw to connect both of these together? Like, so there's one screw.
No,
going through here.
No, what they've done is they have a mount from the gearbox that mounts the upper end of the shock, and one is on the left side and one is on the right side, and they are sort of behind each other. That's how they've done it. And you can see the linkage. The other linkage is front of the upper link, and the other linkage is behind the upper linkage, as you can see clearly here from the picture.
But those two links connect to the two shocks. I get it. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, so those two shocks act independently.
Got you.
So they don't connect.
All right. I mean, let's see how it works. I can't wait to see some under the hood pictures of this as well. But hey, maybe they figured out something. Maybe this works great on their oil tracks, their smooth tracks in England. Let's see how it works on some balloon oil tracks. Hey, this is how innovation comes about. Right now, everybody's talking about Nemo and this buggy, so they've done a good job there. You can't guarantee.
Yeah, this is definitely like, even if this car is a piece of shit, they've done really good job marketing wise. So
there you go, guys. There's a picture of it in action. I don't know who took this picture, so whoever took this picture, photo credits to you. All right, it's time. I think that's it. I don't have any more news, dude. I think that's it. I'm not, that's it. I'm not talking about everybody's race reports and all that stuff. So it looks like a good short news section. I think it's time to go on to the WRC bench racing Q&A. What do you think, Max?
Yeah, man.
Also, I just want to say thank you to TNR Fuels and Hitec for their support of the podcast. And remember, sharing the sponsor some love, shows the podcast some love. And speaking of that, here's another sponsor.
BeachRC.com, the racers' one-stop online hobby shop. Choose from all the popular brands and variety in stock with super fast shipping and great customer service. BeachRC.com still has the local hobby shop feel with all the benefits of the internet. BeachRC.com is the exclusive distributor for Ultimate Racing, JQ Racing, Pro Circuit Racing Tires, Nitro Lux Fuels, and Assault RC Performance products. So fill up your cart and check out at BeachRC.com today.
And thank you to Brent and Beach RC for their continued support of this podcast. We greatly appreciate it. I was talking to Brent this morning. They're gearing up for MOD, which is going to be awesome. And he said he's got some big things in the works. So awesome stuff. Thank you for their support. People, we do have an affiliate link for this. If you want to buy something from Beach RC, if you use that affiliate link, it helps us out immensely and helps Beach RC out, of course. So thank you to Beach RC, the brick and mortar hobby shop. All right, Max. So you can go a little bit more in depth in your questions today, but I got to put a time limit on you because you get carried away in science mode. But we have a couple of science mode questions here. One is from a good friend of mine, Peter Bartel. We've gotten to know each other really good over the last few months. He binged, listened to all my podcasts, all 100 and something of them. So he asks, how far should I go in trying to balance my e-buggy? I've had to add almost 80 grams to one side to balance it out. Is this worth it?
Depends. If it's really bumpy, probably not. Well, okay. Let me phrase it a bit differently. If the car is really heavy to begin with, probably not a huge difference. I've done this with my full drive. I did when I was running Schumacher. I had to add 60 grams or something crazy to the car, and it did get better just because of the balance of it. So it's really hard to say. I wonder what car can be that imbalanced. Must be that you're running the long packs, I believe.
Hey, I believe he runs a e-buggy, by the way. So there you go.
Does he run the long packs? Because with the shorty packs, it should be pretty balanced.
I don't know.
So if you're not running shorties, I'd suggest you do, because the weight, decreasing the weight of the car, and if that also balances the weight bias of the car, that's going to be really good. So I'd always advise to go, I always advise to try to take weight away from places where it's being too much instead of just adding more to balance it out. But in some scenarios, it can be better to have a balanced car instead of having the lightest possible car.
Well, e-buggies are so heavy now as it is. I mean,
yeah, but I saw one guy, his e-buggy weighed 3,250, which is crazy light. So
yeah. I think as battery tech gets better, we're gonna just see that class get better. You know, longer lasting runs, lighter batteries and stuff like that.
But I think these days, if you're running good quality battery packs, you shouldn't really need the long packs. You should be fine with the shorties.
The race is 10 minutes. That's all you need it for. 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Second question. For outdoor racing on medium grip tracks with big jumps, he races in the Southeast. Should he run full droop at all time?
What type of tracks? Can you repeat the beginning with?
For outdoor racing on medium grip tracks with big jumps, he races in the Southeast, like Carolinas.
Yeah.
Should he run full droop all the time?
In the rear, yes. In the front, it's a bit more difficult. I've often found out that increasing droop in the front makes the front end very like springy. So the front end wants to race a lot. And generally you lose a lot of corner speed when you do that. So I gotta say that since I started running AE, I've tried different droops in the front. And every time I've tried something different in the front, droop-wise, it's always gotten either worse, like corner speed-wise, or then it's gotten like that there's just way too little droop. So the amount of droop I run with the shocks laid down is 104 millimeters of the shock length, and that's what I've been running the whole time. In the rear end, though, with more droop, you can gain quite a lot of grip, especially in like the middle of the corner, because oftentimes when you don't have enough droop, it starts to raise the rear inner tire a lot. So I enjoy running maximum droop in the rear almost always. When it's higher grip, it's beneficial to go to less droop in the rear just to gain more corner speed. So my advice is when the grip gets lower and lower, just increase the droop in the rear, like almost the maximum. In the front, I'd say keep it pretty much the same always. That's my take on it. It's hard to say because I haven't raced abroad with this car a lot yet. So I raced in tracks that are in Finland. We have a few medium to high grip tracks, and we have different speed tracks, and we have tracks that are bumpy and not bumpy. So I have that sort of thing. But in Europe, especially, there's a very different style of tracks, like corner-wise and sometimes mixed surface and stuff like that. So those are a key thing. And especially if you have sort of like small hip jumps, or you have those sort of, Westergaard likes to do those dragon back sections. Mm-hmm. On sections like that, having more front droop is actually worse because the front tires catch the bump. They don't ride over the bump. With less droop, especially on like whoops and stuff, having more droop in the front is going to catch the bump, but the car will try to do this all like before every whoop of the straight. So you want to have quite little droop in the front on tracks that have a lot of those like small jumps. Mm-hmm. In bigger jumps, if you just like jump high and then land flat, then it doesn't really matter that much. But I'd still say you gain more in corner speed having less droop in the front than you lose like jumping wise. In the rear end though, I'd say try to run maximum if you can afford it and have enough corner speed still. I find for myself, I have more rear grip and more control in the rear that way.
Now, I'm going to add my little 2 cents to this.
You're on mute.
Oh, am I? Sorry. I'm going to add my 2 cents. I muted because of some noise outside there.
Yeah.
When I was racing and I was running my Mugen, our one track that we had at the time, Los Cocos, was like, it wasn't no big jumps, but it was loomy. The back straight was full of holes. You know what I mean? It was rough. What I used to do was I used to run as little droop as I could because my theory was I would rather have the chassis hit that bump, like, than my wheel go down in there. Yeah. You know what I mean? So I want the wheels to stay there. I would rather have like the kick up or the front of the chassis hit that bump I know I just didn't want my wheel to sink down there and get caught in there, or like, you know, if I was making some fine adjustments because it was just too rough. And I found that the best. Like, yeah, it punishes your chassis, but it you know, that's what it's there for, to take some punishment.
Yeah, and definitely for very high speed bumps, it's almost always better to have less droop. So but slow speed and bumps, it's better to have more droop, especially in the rear. But front, I very rarely touch.
We have another setup question for you, Max. This one comes from, and I like this guy. He goes, RC car nickname the Dragon from Minnesota. Beach RC question. A lot of setups unscrew the shock ends, but also add limiters to the inside and outside. We understand that drivers often fiddle with stuff, then write down their final settings on the setup sheet, however they finish. So perhaps that's just an answer. So I guess he wants to know if you find people that unscrew the shock ends, but also add limiters to the inside and out, why? He thinking maybe it's a mistake. They've got to take it off their setup sheet. But
yeah, that's exactly what he's saying there. Is like, most likely what happens oftentimes is they go to a race and they start out with a certain setting, and then like in the middle of the race they realize they don't have enough droop, so they just unscrew the ball cup a bit and have more droop that way. I always try to do it so that if I do that middle of the race, after the race I fix the shims and then I measure it again and then I make a setup sheet. And that's the proper way to do it. But most pros are very lazy with their setups. Oftentimes they don't even probably know what they have it in there. They just do it and send it off to the team manager, and the team manager publishes it. So yeah, there's definitely a lot of pros out there who just put something on it, and it's probably not even what they run. So
he also goes on
every time you read a pro guy's setup, take him with a grain of salt.
He also asks, is there ever a time to extend the shock end and add limiters in both the inside and outside? He says, any discussion about shock limiters is appreciated. Thanks to Beach RC and the No Name podcast, No Name RC podcast. He says, go Team Dragon. I like it. So is there any time you want to extend the shock and add limiters? I think you would add limiters. I know we used to add limiters to the outside of the shock, but that was to prevent on the rear, on high speed tracks, to prevent jacking. I guess that's what we was looking, not to have the car jack as much.
Yeah, but it's sort of, if you have a lot of inward suspension, the shock sort of, when the car rolls, the shock goes over sort of the point where the car would normally bottom out. So that's why you would have the limiters on the outside. But if you unscrew it, it's like, then the limiters don't make any difference anymore. So yeah, there's really no reason to have limiters on either side and unscrew the ball cup. So yeah, it's just that they've had a setting and then they unscrewed the ball cup as sort of a quick way to have more droop. So yeah, that's my take on it.
All right. Well, shout out to Team Dragon, man. Keep those questions coming and keep racing. All right, Max, you have a fan. Andrew Schultz. Max is my hero, and he has a big heart right next to it. He wants to know, when would you want to use angled piston holes over straight, and could angled holes work in 10 scale?
Yeah, this is a good question. What the angle holes do is they provide a bit more pack, I believe. It's sort of like they work better when you have the shocks laid down. With the JQ, what we often used to do is when we were at the track where it wasn't too bumpy and we wanted to have the shocks more laid down to gain a bit more corner speed, have the car rotate a bit better, we would have the issue of landing jumps was really hard with the straight hole pistons. So having the angled hole pistons then provided more pack. You could still run the same sort of hole size. So you would have the flow of the piston would be pretty similar, but then on higher speed, it would pack up a bit more. So that's sort of the reasoning behind it. And definitely it could work in 10 scale as well. And also one thing about it is you can have a thinner piston like this. So you can have an angled hole and the piston could be a bit thinner. I'd say having a thicker piston, straight hole, is sort of similar to having a thinner piston with angled holes. It acts differently on track, but it does similar things. So it just adds a little bit more pack on the high speed of the shock movement.
Thinner and thicker pistons. What's the difference, real quick? What's the handling?
Yeah, so a very thin piston, what it does is the oil flows through it, like the hole you have. It needs to go into the hole for a very short amount of time. Mm-hmm. So then when you have a thicker piston, the oil goes into the hole and it has to be there for a longer time. Yeah. So when the piston is moving at a very high speed, what happens is the oil starts to pack up. It can't be compressed like as much as it has to be with the thicker piston. So for example, I ran pistons that were 5 millimeters thick, and I ran with holes that were like, I think 6-hole pistons with 1.7 holes. So like the hole size is very big, but then when I drive the car on track, it feels very similar. Like the compression feels very similar to a thinner piston with a smaller size hole. Obviously, then the high speed is still different. So you could run a very thin oil and the shock would be very smooth on the top. And when you would land a jump, it would, on the high speed, it would have more pack and more compression. More pack and the compression would be a bit stiffer then.
So obviously with the angled holes on the thinner piston, that gives it a bit more pack because of the angle. So the oil has to go up and like that. But it also acts faster because it's a thinner piston, so it has less time to travel. So you get like I guess I'm assuming you get the best of both worlds with a thinner, to an extent.
Yeah,
depends what you're looking for.
On some scenarios, yes. That's the idea behind it. And the scenarios where these angled holes work the best, to my, like what I've tested and what I found out, they work the best when the track is very smooth. So when the track is a bit rough, or when the track is slower speed, or when you're running the shocks more stood up, it's almost all the time better to run straight hole pistons. This is because you have more feel in the car, and you get a little bit more grip in the car, at least the feeling of more grip. You don't gain much in lap time because you lose a little bit of corner speed, but you gain a better feel over bumps and stuff. You make less mistakes. But then when the track is really smooth, and especially if it's higher speed, and you want to lean the shocks out and still have good landing characteristics, you can have the angled holes. And with thicker pistons, it's a bit different. It lands really good, but you have the car feel a lot softer. I haven't tried too much with shocks in a really big angle with the thick pistons yet. I will try, but I'd imagine with thick pistons, the result would be a softer car with good landing characteristics. With normal thickness pistons and straight hole, or let's call it thin piston straight hole, you will have the piston be quite fast and you can have a thick oil in it. It starts to bounce the car a bit, but you have sort of more feel in the car. The car will be a bit more precise. And with the angled holes, you have a slightly bit more pack, so you can lean the shocks in a bit and calm down the car and also gain a little bit of corner speed, but still have the car land okay. So that's sort of the way to go. For smoother tracks, angled holes are usually pretty good. I ran them this year at one race where there was a smooth track with high speed corners and stuff. So
Max,
I like them at least.
You know what? Just off topic, I'm getting so excited about like actually getting to do this type of stuff again when I go to California next year. Like, you know, just hearing you talk, like, and I want to feel this, like I want to feel angled pistons versus straight pistons, because you know when I used to go to these races, I never drive or touch a car. Yeah. So it's gonna be awesome. Just thought about that while you was geeking out there.
Yeah.
All right.
But now that we're talking about best pistons, I want to say something, which is
I'll be quiet.
The pistons we use are very poor. They work pretty much the opposite way. It's not like if you think about like actual rally car shocks or motocross bike shocks and the way they work, like RC car pistons are like very old type of design, and they like the pistons like the VRP and MIP are closer, but they still don't do the right things. They do some okay things sometimes, and they can work in some scenarios, but they still don't act correctly. They don't act like an actual shock absorber in a real rally car and stuff. And I hope someone will come up with a proper shock design, and I will definitely try to be part of it if I have a chance.
Oh, I'm muted again.
Again, you're muted.
Yeah, you're in university, man. Make it happen. You got the tools to your.
Yeah, exactly. That's why. That's one of the biggest reasons I wanted to go to uni right now. Is now I've been working for a few years. I have a bit of money in the bank, and I can live okay in the uni, and I get availability to all the CNC machines and stuff from the uni, and I can get access to different materials and stuff. And I also like study the stuff, so I learned the theory as well. So it's that's one of the biggest reasons I wanted to go to uni as well.
Awesome. Make some machine pistons, dude. Make them how you want them. All right. Next question is from Magnus Berglund from Sweden. Nitro question. Now that Europe will probably lower the percentage in racing, can you quickly explain what happens when you alter the percent? So that T-Bear's new fuel was 28%. In the 90s, we ran 65 to 70 in our 8-scale drag cars, 3.5cc engines. They sounded awesome, and we believed that they were a lot faster. Tuning was another story. Well, it comes down to power. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I run 30 as well, and it's just power. Isn't the rule of thumb as you go lower in nitro, the more runtime you get? So,
yeah. I know nitro burns faster than oil,
right?
Or methane.
So what is it now? Is it regulations now in racing that the percentage is lower now? I assume. We know that the regulations made it so we can only buy so much.
Yeah.
But now have AFRA or IFMAR made a decision on racing?
No, it's in Europe. It's 25% is still the maximum. You can run anything below 25. But the issue is you just need a license to have it. It's actually pretty easy.
Yeah, he actually done it. License. This guy actually done it. Done the license and got it. He showed me that he done it.
Yeah.
But I think
I've got it too. But yeah.
He says now that Europe will probably lower. So we're looking at, are they going to make it like a lower percentage obligation?
I'm kind of torn on this. I ran 12% fuel for 2 of the Finnish nationals, and it was good. It was. I actually tested 25 versus 12, and I felt better with the 12. I had like better feeling on the bottom end, and straight line speed was pretty much the same, and fuel mileage was better. So, 2 tracks, I ran 25. Now the biggest reason was actually heat. So it was 30 degrees hot, both these races. And the issue was that the engine, when it gets that hot and you have only 12% of nitro, the nitro actually cools down the engine a lot. So when you only have the 12%, you will start to have issues with like overheating. The engine will be good tuned for a few laps, and then you will overheat and the engine will go lean. Or if you like then richen out the engine, then the engine will just be rich and never have enough temp. So that was the biggest issue with 12% fuel. So that's why I had to run 25. And I think it's hard to say if a different type of carb or a bigger Venturi or something like that could help in higher temps. But most likely it'll be very difficult to tune an engine in somewhere like Madrid, where it's like I think 2 kilometers on top of sea level.
Really?
And it's really hard. I don't know. 2,000 feet. Okay. So that's what's that?
That's like
that's 700 meters. Yeah. 700 meters. So okay, but still way above the ocean level. Same thing actually was in Portugal, in Freixedas. It's really high on top of sea level. Yeah, that's very high. That's even higher than So that's going to be an issue. In Finland, we can run 12 because it's not that hot. I could have run 12 in both of these races. It would have been like both of these races were I ran 25. I could have ran 12. It would have been worse, but I could have ran it. But somewhere like Spain and like Madrid, as I said, it would be really difficult to have the engine tuned correctly with 12% fuel.
Well, what's going to happen is guys are going to put different, like my mate done. He for GT, he wanted to run 16% because he wanted to get 7-minute qualifiers, but he wanted power because those things suck fuel. They couldn't even do 7-minute qualifiers, so he made his own fuel, scooped out the head button where the I think he scooped it out and maybe even like had it lowered a little bit so it gets more compression to make up for that power. So you're just gonna see what you're gonna see is it's evolution. Like engines are just gonna be designed to run better with these eventually. So it was funny because I had this conversation with Greg yesterday. He called me. He's over there fixing up the Genki JQ van. So he's sending me pictures and giving me updates every day on what's going on. So we got talking about fuel. And he was just like, I just don't understand why we don't run 25, make all races run 25% like they do at the Worlds and all that type of stuff and just leave it at that.
Yeah.
And
I don't understand why they allowed 30% fuel in America. There's no reason to allow it. Like, why?
I mean, there's some places that
more work for the people.
Right. All right. So say like in Bolivia, when we was in Bolivia, we was at 8,000 feet and then 15,000, 14,000, 12,000 feet.
Okay.
Having nitro at that point, like you need a higher percentage nitro. Like it's not much you can do after that.
Yeah.
But I don't know what's going on because this all comes up because Tebow is released his JTP fuel with Nitro Pro and it's 28%. So I don't know, man. I think what you're gonna see, like people think this is gonna kill nitro. What it's just gonna do is just make people get more innovative. What it's gonna do is allow people to cheat more too. That'd be good too. Like I don't know how you would cheat.
I wish we could move away from nitro completely to something else, like some ethanol or something.
Right. Still nitro engines, like pits and all that stuff.
Like internal combustion engines, but not like nitro. I think that could be a good thing moving forward. Then there wouldn't be issues with licensing, and there wouldn't be issues with there could be issues about how big of a percentage of ethanol and stuff. But I think we should move to 12% fuel in Europe and then find a way to make the engines work. Obviously, this has to be a gradual process. You can't do it now because engines can't really do it in higher temps. But I wish that would be the case because all like the licenses and stuff, it's easy to get, but now imagine an American would come to race in Europe. He cannot run 25% fuel unless he gets the license.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah. All right. Well, we have one more question, and this is going to be real quick. Actually, I got this last week. I believe just a private message. I actually don't know this guy's real name. He just goes by DC. I can't pronounce it. But he goes, request, what's JQ's thoughts on doing invisible speed in-person clinic seminar style classes possible in the States? I just have to say, watch this space and hold our beer. That's something we should see next year. Good stuff. Max, I think that's all the questions we have. So we had some time to answer them properly. There were some good questions. Weren't many, but there were some good questions this week. Yeah. So thank you all for those questions. We greatly appreciate it. I know somebody had another question around here somewhere, but that's all I could find. You know what? You look tired, dude. You look tired.
And I got something in my eye.
Yeah, that's what happens when you stay up all night, So,
yeah.
All right. Well, let's go on. Let's do a preview of this up-and-coming big European race that is Buggyland. And that is brought to us by Tekno RC. Thank you, Tekno, for the long-time support of the podcast. Max, let's talk about Buggyland.
Tekno RC. Tekno RC is a premium manufacturer specializing in 8th and 10th scale high-performance off-road RC buggies and trucks. Visit www.teknorc.com for a complete catalog of their products. Tekno RC. Excellence in engineering. #Tekno Takeover.
Yes, we are back. Tekno, thank you for all the support. Awesome team. Going good for them this year. It's going to be interesting to see who's on the team going into 2022. Silly season's almost coming up, Max. We ain't too far away from silly season. We're going to have a lot to talk about this year, it looks like. All right, Max. Being as we couldn't get a guest on this week, well, it just didn't work out. We'll have him on. It's going to be a good guest, too, by the way. People have been asking for him to come on, so he's a legend in the UK. So we have the Buggyland race coming up. For some reason, I thought this race was actually next week. So I know Joseph is driving.
Yeah, I don't know. It's been weirdly promoted. Like everyone's like kind of, weird.
Yeah. So I hit up. I knew Joseph. You know, actually the van looks pretty badass with the JQ SM. Everybody's making so much fun of that, but people don't pay attention because he changed the logo from JQ Racing to JQ Scale Motorsports like months ago. But people just weren't paying attention to that. So he got the van wrapped and he headed down there, and I think he's there now. I was talking to him today. He's like, "Oh, my car's so dialed." You know, I think he's actually got the full Mayako too, or maybe just I'm not sure. And then
he's had it for a while.
Yeah, but I think like this is the actual full one. Maybe I'm not sure.
Oh, they like the.
Yeah, like that.
I don't know. Maybe he had some prototype parts.
Yes.
Like in the nationals, but
who knows?
Now he's probably like almost production.
Joseph, don't tell me anything. So anyway,
yeah.
I didn't even know. Then I'm like, hey, I hooked up Ronafal because, hey, what's up, man? When are you going to Spain? He goes, I'm here. Like, you know what I mean? I'm like, oh.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like, the race is this week. I was like, I didn't know. So we got this race coming up. Real quick, let's have a look at you've been to this track. This is built. This guy's Miguelo. This guy built. When we talk about track builders, we don't give this guy enough credit. He actually built some really good tracks. And
he built the IBC, I think.
Yes, he did. And let's have a quick look at this track. Let's see if we can get it where we start off with some laps here, and get some laps in for you guys. Let me see. Let me just make sure I have this correct. But the reason we're talking about this is actually a very big race in Europe. We had the IBC, the International Buggy Challenge in Portugal, back in July, I think it was. And now we have this. So this is really the second time that these Europeans have raced in 2 years. But this is extremely stacked, even more stacked than I would say the last race. The only thing missing here is probably a big UK contingent. There's no Skidmores, no Lee Martins, nothing like that. We do have Elliott Boots there, but man,
and there's some Italian.
Yeah, there's a lot of Italians. A lot of. I didn't realize how many Spanish races there were. Lots.
You know what? Spain is fucking huge in age scale. They have 2 national series. They have a national series and they have a B national series. Yes.
I did not know that. So they have so they have they just have what the Euro does, but with in a national series. So that's I get that.
Yeah.
All right, let's see if we can. For those of you that don't know, where's this track to? In how do you say it? Funeral? How do you say it?
I think.
Yeah, you've been there. So real quick, you went there for the.
It's. Yeah, I went there for the B years in 2014, and then we went to practice here before the Euros in 2018 with JQ. This track is like 10-minute drive from like the center of Madrid. This track is at a perfect spot for anything. It's like, under 10 minutes of drive to the center of Madrid, like the center of Madrid.
So it's like right in the city almost.
Yeah, you can see like he posts like the pictures he has on Facebook. You can see like the big skyscrapers and stuff from like the sky view photo of the track. So
how long has he had this track?
It's pretty cool.
Was 2014 the year you won the Euro Bs?
No. 2014. I don't know where I finished. It wasn't that good. I think 2015 when I won the Junior Euro.
Okay, Junior Euro.
So
sorry,
I'm
confused.
Yeah. But this track is this track has been there for a while. At least like from like 2010 or something, but probably even older than that.
Well, let's have a look at it and let's see. This is from the final from 2000. Actually, let me.
Entonces estaba intentando solo joder, no hacer fallos.
Just mute the volume.
So here's some laps. We got David Ronnefalk. This is from the hour-long main that we had their last year. I think that's Rana Falk. No, that's not Rana Falk. Sorry. Is it? Yeah.
Probably Killich.
No, that's Rana Falk.
Oh, no, that's Rana Falk.
But he's running a yellow wing.
Yeah, just yeah.
Okay. So as you can see, this track is very nice.
No, that's Tom Robin. That's Tom Robin.
Oh wow, he looks just like this. Wow, I thought that was Rana Falk.
Yeah, I know. But it's Tom Robin.
Look at this track, man. I really love this track. It's got elevation change. It's got like
he always does that. The rear part of the track has always, or at least for the last like 5 years, been raced like that. So it's really cool, and he has like all the jumps he does and stuff. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, there's nothing like unjumpable here. It's fast paced. Even that jump, it's fast paced. You know, then you have this little bit of to slow you down on this, like before that jump. I love like when jumps are just fast like that. You go uphill.
Yeah.
This is a great track. It's going to be some great racing there this weekend. These guys.
And he always does a new layout for each year. So
I haven't seen the layout yet this year. So I haven't seen any video from this track yet at all. David sent me some video of him testing somewhere else in Spain. So, and I'm sure they're probably out there. I don't think, what's today, Wednesday when we're recording this. So they probably are not at the, practice hasn't started yet, or has it?
Yeah, I think it starts on Friday. So it's Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
All right. But this is like, all right. So let's take this off for a minute. This is like, all right. So why are we talking about this race? Because, well, we didn't get to see the Europeans race much, and IBC was super exciting to watch. So this should be really exciting. I mean, we come down to it again. We come down to you being your super fanboyish AE type of personality. You're gonna pick Davide Ongaro to win this. I'm not. I'm picking.
No, I don't pick Davide because I run A. I pick Davide because he's the fastest guy in Europe.
Right. Well, right now he is. Like, right. I mean, who can argue? Yeah. I mean, he won the only race that's out there, so he won that.
Yeah, and it's like, just for Americans listening, this, like, in terms of skill of drivers that are here, I'd say this is more packed than DNC this year.
Well, you mean in pro drivers?
Trust me.
Let's see who we have.
If all the guys from DNC and all the guys from here met, like, the field would be more stacked in this race than
let's
DNC.
See. Well, okay, all right. Well, let's see. Let's go through some of the big names that we have here. We have the Killex, we have Bruno Coelho, we have Battier, Ronafalk, Ongaro, Boots, Figueiredo, Jorn Newman. Let's not ever count him out. Juan Carlos Canas. Didn't Daniel Parente beat Battier and Canas a couple of weeks ago?
Yes. Yeah.
We have the madman, the flamboyant Italian madman, Marco Barufalo, Reno Savoia, Berton. We have the Baldo brothers, who are still good. Micha Witamara, más o menos, more or less. Zankatine, Tom Robin, who we just saw in there. Montero is good. I don't know all these other Spanish guys, but
I think Polito will be there, and Spanish drivers are really fast in Spain. So, and also, like, there's a lot of Spanish guys who are fast, like, at the Euros as well. So it's just that they don't get much recognition. They only appear in, like, the Spanish.
I would have to disagree with you. I think that this is stacked, but it ain't DNC stacked.
But it's because you are like, no, but you think of Americans. For you, like Ryan Pavidis and I think Camden Lime, or like guys.
I think if these guys, if
Misha Whitmire would be both of those guys, you know,
maybe,
yes,
maybe. I just haven't seen
him.
I haven't seen him enough. But to say that,
it's just that, like, you look this from, like, American perspective, where I've seen the American racing and I've seen, like, the European racing. So, like, races like if like, let's say Mayfield goes to this race, he'll be, like, trying to fight for, like, a podium here.
Yeah, because, and not only that, let's put
it. Mayfield dominated DNC. So.
Let's be realistic. If these 15 guys besides JQ, right here, and this one stacked heat, which has Barkan, Bruno, Burak, David, Robert, Elliott, Yao, not Joseph, Juan Carlos, Barufalo, and Savoia and Barton. That's all potential DNC A-main drivers right there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if those guys, if
and then put that into the perspective of these guys are Europeans who practice in Europe and test in Europe, and they still are in America A-main drivers at DNC.
I agree with you. So I'm not disagreeing with you there. Yeah. So I agree with you there. I definitely agree with you.
I'd say most Americans is like they don't understand how competitive the European racing scene actually is.
That's why we're here to talk about it. That's why we're here to talk about it. I definitely think if those guys show up to DNC, the DNC mains, I definitely think that we're going to see, if these Europeans go to DNC next year, we're going to see probably the highest amount of Europeans, international drivers we've ever seen in an A final at DNC. I just think that. Yeah. Just because I just think that these guys are they're fast. Like, you know, the guys who, no disrespect to the other guys who are making up their ranks, but there's going to be a lot of people not in that main that usually are in that main if this happens. So this is a big race. Like I said, Davide Angaro right now going into this, he's on top of the world. He won the last race when all these guys met. But I think, you know, I'm always going to pick the Viking here. He's out there practicing. He's getting ready. He wants to win. You're going to say he's going to come second. Yeah. I know you're going to say he comes second.
He's probably going to come. Well, actually, no. I'd say he's probably going to come third because Canas is really good on, especially this track, and especially in Spain, he's really fast. So my top three is Ongaro, Canas, Ronefalk. So that's pretty easy for me. And the reason isn't that Ronefalk is like in worse form than Ongaro or Canas. It's just that this is like probably one of the worst type of like tracks for the HB car. I don't know if they have something new come out since like last time out, but what I know about the HB car, this is like probably the worst type of track for that car.
Why is that?
Well, the HB car it drives pretty loose, especially the way Ronefalk sets it up. It produces quite a lot of grip. And this track usually has a lot of grip. So what you need is a lot of rotation and corner speed. Mm-hmm. The HP has good rotation, but it lacks a lot in corner speed. And the cars like AE and S-Works with wider rear hinge pin width, they can produce much more corner speed, and the car rolls much more nicely on tracks like this. So I'd say like they have a huge sort of advantage against Ronefalk. So if Ronefalk manages to win this race, like he battles it out with Ongaro and wins, it's a pretty good achievement. Because you can easily see, like when you come to DNC, like I'd pick Ronefalk over Ongaro almost any day, you know? Mm-hmm. That's just because that's like the perfect track for the HB car, and cars like AE are okay, but that's not like the optimal track. Track like this are very optimal for AE and S-Works. For Mugen, not so much. The Mugen front end is a bit pushy, so they kind of struggle on tracks like this. That's why I won't really pick Robert. So yeah, Ongaro is, if he doesn't win, I'm gonna be a bit like I'm gonna be surprised. I'd say it that way.
Really?
Yeah.
I think I'm going with. I honestly, I think we're gonna see. It's in Spain. It's very hard to go against Badier and Canas. Whom they've been to this track. They know how to tune their engines to this track. You know, we just talked about how high Madrid is above sea level, all that type of stuff. The question is, like Robert actually needs a good top 3 performance at one of these races. I would say.
Didn't he finish third in IBC though?
We'd have to. It's been. I forget. No. I forget. We'd have to go back and
look. He's been actually Robert's been okay this year.
I want to see.
He beat Canas.
Right, but I want to see I want to see the Robert Badier. I'm in the middle of the pack. Don't pay attention to me to the last 15 minutes of the race, and then I come on and I win. Robert Badier. That's who I want to see. Remember, now he's with Guimar engines, so that's a big switch up in his program.
Guimar.
Himar or something. I don't know how they say it. Is it a Spanish company? Because this G is like
I think so. I think it's
Himar.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting to see Canas nipping at his heels or like trying to exert his dominance. This a lot of it's coming up to the end of the year for a lot of these guys, so this race has some importance to people, I would say. You know.
And like the field being that stacked,
Mm-hmm.
it's even that puts more pressure on like Ongaro and Ronefalk and Robert and Canas, because they know like if they win this race, it's like a huge deal. You know,
Dude,
it's like
I think I would like which Killick brother is gonna win? Which Killick brother leaves her beating the other one? Who gets the background? What if they go 1 and 2? Like, whoa, how awesome would that be? Like, you know what I mean?
It would be. I'd say one of those two could get a top 5, but I think that's the best they could do. They are fast, and they definitely improved a lot since they moved to Mugen. But the issue is just like these type of tracks are like very like you need a certain type of car for tracks like this, and the car needs to handle a certain type of way to be fast. It's like if you go to this track and you run there for 1 day, you do a lap something like 39, then you stay there for 2 days and you drive like a 37.5 or something, because you need to find the corner speed in the car. You need to find like your car can feel amazing, you can drive really fast, and the lap time just isn't good. And then you test all the stuff, and then you find some more corner speed and stuff, and then you're really fast. So on tracks like this, the car has a huge effect, much bigger than in tracks in America. And that's why I really can't see Mugen drivers or HV drivers doing too well. Obviously, Robert and Killich brothers are going to be fast, and they're going to be in the main and fighting for good positions. But just like to beat someone like Ongaro, which this is like a perfect track for him, I think, and Canas as well. He's won twice in a row here. So, yeah, that's just my take on it. And also, yeah, well, I mean, it's hard to say. Or like as you said before, like about Robert, like you want to see him do that, like from back of the pack and then catch everyone and go by and win. If I'm being honest, like in the last 5 or 6 years, Robert has almost only done that on tracks that are kind of blown out. He's very good when the track is high speed and bumpy. He's ridiculously good. And also, the Mugen car is very good on tracks like that. It has good rear grip, and it has very good corner speed, and the front end is very sort of a mellow to drive. It's not too aggressive. On tracks like this, you need to have good rotation from the front, and you need the rear end still to have good corner speed, and the car go fast. And that's why I don't see Robert doing that thing. Even though if Robert had his best day and had his best run in the main, I still don't see that happening, because this just isn't the type of track for him. So okay. Yeah, that's my reasoning behind all this.
All right. Surprises who I think can do well here. Don't forget, we also have Ricardo Barton, Barufalo. Mm-hmm. Can Barufalo put things together and not blow out and do well?
Yeah. And Coelho as well.
Yeah, Coelho. I mean, he's been putting in a lot of time at the 8-scale track lately.
And he's really good on high group tracks, and the X-ray car is also good on high group tracks. So
then you have can Renault Savoia and Yao Figueiredo fly it's like if you really go back and like 10 years ago, 15 years ago, like it would be no doubt that a Kyosho would win this, and now we're like, hey, like can these guys do well at this? I think they will. Don't get me wrong, but. Yao and
I think Savoia could be on for a top 5. I think like Killich, one of the Killich brothers, Savoia, someone like who else was there? Well, one of the Italians. It's gonna be Berton or
I don't see Polito here. Maybe he's not here.
Okay. Polito could be one if he is going there, but if he's not,
I don't see a lot of the young Italian guys going. That's what I don't see.
I see like the top 4 being pretty solid. Let's say top 3 is pretty solid with Ongaro, Canas, Ronefalk. That's my picks, and then from 4th to like 7th, it's gonna be like Robert, one of the Killich brothers, Savoia, Barufalo, and you can throw some like Berton in there as well. I think that's gonna be like what the pack's gonna be.
Surprised to see Jorn Newman here racing again. It's been a while.
Yeah.
How about Dark Horse? We have a couple of fast, like Carlos Duras, Ricardo Montero, Thomas Musso, Tom Robbins, Zancatine, Baldo brothers, Navarro. All these guys are fast.
I'd say Tom Robin is a good dark horse pick for a top 5 or a podium even. He's like, if a few guys flame out, he could get a top 3, I think, a podium. If he has a good race, he could get a top 5, but he's sort of a dark horse. He isn't sort of like he's gonna be in the fight. If he has a good day, he can snatch a top 5. That's my guess.
All right, let's make one more prediction before we go on and talk about this and coverage. Look at this. Where do we think this guy's going? Where do we think Beaker's gonna finish?
I think he's going to make the main.
I don't even think he's going to make the main. I'm sorry.
Depends.
I hope he does.
Really, I think it really depends on if he has a good start in a semi, he's going to make the main.
You know what?
And if he has a decent mechanic or someone he knows who is his mechanic, I think he has a pretty good shot at making the main. Because like this guy, like, he probably crashed once the whole Finnish national season or something. This guy just doesn't crash. That's why he was pretty slow at times, but he's been practicing at this track for a lot. He's been to this track many times. He's been developing the car at this track for a long while. So if he doesn't make the main, I'm going to definitely be a little bit disappointed. I really expect him to make at least the main. Mm-hmm. And like, it's hard to say because I haven't seen the car in person on high grip. But if the car is actually as good as he says it is on high grip, like I wouldn't be surprised to see him JQ like doing a top 5 or something crazy.
Well, you definitely are. What drugs are you using? Because I need some. Look, JQ is actually really.
You should have seen like. When he was running like Black Edition versus the Mayako, like the difference only in Finland, and the Black Edition notoriously sucked on high grip.
That's
and
true.
This car, at least JQ's words, is really good on high grip. So if he doesn't make the main, I'm gonna be disappointed. If he makes the main, it's like 8th, 9th, then I'm like, okay, yeah, not surprised. If he makes it the top 5. I wouldn't say I'm surprised, but that would be a really good result for him. That would be like a super good result for him.
Sweet. You know what? I do not know who's going to be covering this. You said Everlap should have scoring.
So Everlap has scoring on their website. It's probably on the top of the list. You just Google Everlaps and you can find Buggyland there, and you can find all hits and stuff. It's a system just like Live RC and My RCM, and I'd argue better system, but just much more unknown. And Info RC will most likely be covering it live. We should probably ask if Nick and Matt will cover it with Motorsport Europe. I don't know.
I haven't heard anything. But...
I think Info RC will most likely cover it with a live broadcast.
But I kind of was going to save this for a rant, but I'm going to say it anyway. Isn't this the type of stuff that EFRA should be trying to do? Like, instead of, no offense to what they've done, which I think is great the last 2 weeks, they pumped resources into doing that. But this is one of the biggest, this is probably one of the biggest races they're going to have this year. EFRA hasn't had any races. Shouldn't they have focused on probably trying to get, I mean, obviously the English guys couldn't go there, but they should have focused. Maybe they're going to work together with Info RC. We'll see. I hope they do.
My guess is what's going to happen is Info RC will have a live feed, and then they will have English commentary by Matt and Nick. I at least hope that's what they're going to do, and I believe that's what's going to happen.
I'll tell you what,
at least for the main day.
The guy from Info RC did it all on his own the last time he was there. And he did a bang.
Oh yeah, and he does that for every Spanish national, at least most Spanish nationals, I should say. He does it. He did it for IBC. Mm-hmm. He does it for a lot of big races. Only issue is he's obviously Spanish.
Yeah, but he does the English version too. He does English and Spanish.
Yeah, but he like the lives are in Spanish, and then he like has like he like every other minute he says like the update in English. So it's good. He does a good job of that, considering like 90% of his viewers are Spanish speaking people.
This is look. Afra talks about collaboration and all this type of stuff. Well, this is a non-Afra event. They should collaborate.
I do believe they will collaborate. I would be surprised if they don't.
The RC World,
but we'll if not, we'll talk about definitely next week. It'll be around.
Watch them go rush and do it now. We should release this podcast today so they make sure they do it. But I hope they do. It will be great. To hear Nick and those guys talk about it.
I think for the main day they will do it.
Yeah, at least that's Sunday.
Qualifying and practice, I don't think, but I don't really think qualifying live streams are that important, really.
Like, I like qualifying. Cool, I do like qualifying though.
I do like qualifying, but like, who watches 10-hour live stream of qualifying?
I usually
tune in 5 minutes before the main and then watch the main live, and I think that's how it should be. You don't watch the Formula One for the whole day. You'll just watch the race. I think that's how it should be.
Well, we shall see.
If it's that way, I'd be fine with it. Then I'll give props to Efra if they do it. If they don't,
well, I'm sure we can tune into House of RC. Yeah, if they don't, we're gonna get on them. I'm sure we can tune into House of RC for stuff. Also, I'll be sharing whatever I can find on it, and then hopefully, I hope Joseph makes the main. So then we have a happy Joseph next week to do a recap. And I think I'm gonna try and get David. Let's see. Maybe they'll all be in Spain, and maybe we can do some sort of collaboration where we get Robert on and all that.
I think David's gonna stay there for a while, and Jake is definitely gonna stay there for a while because he's with the car. I would be surprised if Jake and Ronald aren't going practicing somewhere.
Oh, of course,
because they've been like, remember like before COVID and stuff, Jake and Ronald were in Spain for like a few months that winter. So. I think they're going to do the same type of stuff, so they probably will be good for next week.
All right. So we talked about that enough. Your top three, and then I'm going to do my top three, and I think that we're going to wrap this podcast up.
Yeah. Ongaro, Canas, Ronafalk.
All right. I'm going David Ronafalk because I can't bet against the Viking. Ongaro, Batye.
Okay, that's a good pick as well. But you know what you always do. You picked Fenn for the longest time, and then you didn't pick him for a few races, and then he won his first race.
So you're saying I'm a jinx?
So I think this is, you're definitely a jinx because you always go against the odds for the guy that you're a fan of. So like, Fenn was supposed to win DNC, and I even picked him there. But like for other races, like after DNC, you should have been like, no Fenn, no more. But you're stuck to him, and I think you fuck with people mentally by your picks. Like I think people are scared that you pick them for the win.
So I should pick Davide Ongaro.
Let's put it this way: if you pick Davide Ongaro, Ronald might actually win.
So. I'm really picking Davide Ongaro, fingers crossed.
Yeah, but that's not a genuine pick. It doesn't. The jinx has to be genuine.
Oh shit! I'm shit out of luck on that one. Yeah, I'm going Ongaro, Batye, man, and I will throw in a dark horse there. I'm going with my buddy. Madman Marco Barufalo. But it's so.
I'd like to see him battle it.
We didn't even talk about Boots.
Oh shit!
Boots?
Yeah, Boots and Coelho. We almost forgot. We said something about Coelho, but like
Boots, you mentioned him. But let's talk about Boots real quick before we.
Yeah. To be honest, he's been looking really lost in UK. But the issue with UK is they run on the junk oil tracks. They destroy the nature around them and everything else.
It's natural.
And then the track.
Oil.
No, it's not. It's junk. It's trash. And then they run like some ultra soft seismic compound. It's the only tire that works. So it's not really a good baseline. Let's put it that way. So Boots could be really fast.
We'll see. He needs a good result though.
He definitely needs one. Only issue is probably the engine. Like it's so high up. it's not gonna be that hot, so that might help him a bit. But it's so high up that I'd say OS has a huge advantage at tracks like this.
Sweet. I agree with you there. It's going to be interesting. I hope we get some good coverage. I'll be tuned into this. And we got to talk about it next week. I love in these races and these guys because we got to talk about it. And this time it actually probably, like, it was really good to have Tebow talk about the Southern Nats from his point of view. So let's get some guys in and talk about this next week.
Yeah, we need like to have people on more who are actually at these races, because both of us we're like never at these races, because we are
or maybe I need to get to some of these races, but hopefully next year. You know what, Max, we're gonna wrap this up. I just want to shout out a real quick to Sun City RC Raceway. Don't forget the US Open's coming up on I said this date already and I've lost it already here. It's coming up on the 21st to the 24th. That's going to be our next big race for when we get the American guys racing together. So check that out. If you're on the fence of going, check them out. Let's help Sun City RC Raceway. They're big supporters of the No Name RC podcast, and we thank them for their love. And we want to see their track succeed. And I was talking to David Isherwood earlier, and now with the USA saying that you have to be vaccinated now you have to be vaccinated to come to America. So Europe's off the ban list. RCGP is starting to look like it's going to happen. Woohoo! So
yeah, it's just that Americans need to get vaccinated as well.
Well, to get over to Europe, yeah. So
so that's going to be a huge issue with.
But
with
it's looking like we're going to have an RCGP next year. So I'm excited about that. I was just talking to David today, and it's going to be good. Also, remember, guys, our sponsors, I have to give one more shout out, and that's the Lugs RC. Lugs Racing has over 55 years of combined experience in RC. They've been testing treads, wheels, and rubber for performance. Lugs Equine tires were developed with racing budgets in mind. High quality but lower cost means savings can be passed on to you, the consumer. Lugs racing tires, their racing tires provide pure performance made using their custom molds, proprietary rubber compounds, and they're testing a lot, man. They've been busy this year. They've been sponsoring lots of events, so let's check them out. Tires are available in medium soft, super soft, mega soft, and now long wear. They also have truggy tires, so go to www.lugsracing.com, and I think you can save up to 30% with promo code NNRC Lugs in all caps. Thank you to Lugs for their continued support. Thank you to all the sponsors for the continued support. Max, thank you for your time. Enjoy the rally racing, dude. Send me some video of that stuff, please.
I will.
And
I'll take my camera with me and stuff.
You're going to be too inebriated to do anything. You're going to be all messed up. You and Henry out there drinking hot beer or something like that.
I don't drink anymore.
You don't? You just consume?
Well, I do, but I actually haven't drank a lot recently. Only like probably once in the last 2 weeks.
Like not last night?
Doing pretty good. No, last night I didn't drink. I was just out with my friends.
Okay. And you're going
with... You can have fun without alcohol, people.
I have been doing this for a year. And you're going with your mysterious, unknown, never seen before secret brother, Rex?
Yeah, he's definitely not going to be out there. He's staying home, playing RuneScape.
Playing what?
He's fucking insane, dude. He's playing that game. He's played that game for like a few years, and like the stuff he has in that game is like worth more than people that have played for like over 10 years.
What game is this?
So that dude grinds. RuneScape. You must know this.
No, I don't.
No idea. This is like one of the oldest like multiplayer games there.
I'll have to check it out.
Like
I'll probably I know what that is. I've never seen your brother. I don't think he exists. I think he's a figment of your imagination. It's like your alter ego Rex. Is everything that I want to do that I don't want people to know. Thank you for your time. Hey guys, a little shorter podcast. We're only going to go an hour, but we still went an hour and 45 minutes. I know we didn't have a guest this week.
I mean, a little bit shorter podcast. It's still almost 2 hours.
Yeah, we have issues. Thank you, everybody, for the continued support. We will. I don't know if we'll have a guest next week because we might get carried away talking about a recap, but we will have a guest soon. Maybe we're gonna start doing 2 podcasts. Maybe I need to put a poll up. Should we do 2 podcasts? Do you like them long? Do you like them split up?
You don't need a poll. We need to do 2 podcasts.
Yeah.
No one listens to 5 hours.
Yeah, we probably just need to do 2. 2022. We're gonna revamp everything. Thank you to all the support, guys. Please have a good weekend. Be safe. Send it without responsibility if you're doing some RC stuff. Anybody that's going to the Buggyland race, send me some video. I want to see it. What's going on? Max, have a good time.
Post pictures of the track too.
Yeah, we haven't seen pictures of the track.
Yeah,
I'm gonna do some boating here this week. I gotta order another prop. So that river's just that's like $50. That's like $70 just going like that. Like just going in seconds.
Yeah.
Into the abyss. But that's RC Boats, man. That's RC Boats. Max, thank you for your time. Patrons of the NNRC squad I'm all confused. Patrons of the NNRC, thank you for the extra support. You guys help keep these bills paid. Thank you to the awesome sponsors of our podcast. They are Mayako, Beach RC, Hitec RC, TNR Fuels, Tekno RC, Sun City RC Raceway, Lugs Racing Tires, JQ Scale Motorsports, Manscaped.com, Papa Willie's Traction Tonic, Donathan RC, Racecraft USA, House of RC, RCGP. Don't forget to get your Invisible Speed online course. And people, please sign up for the Sold Out app. It's really good. And also, don't forget to cut through that jungle and find your manhood with www.manscaped.com, promo code no name in all caps, save 20% off your order and free shipping. You know what, Max? It's time to go. Lefty and Nitro's the glory. E-Buggy pays the bills. If you ain't grinding and sliding, Lefty and Max are out. You all have a good weekend. And we'll talk to you maybe next week. Or maybe Max is going to get a break next week. And I'll have Beaker on to either explain. This is the Beaker we're going to get next week. Either he's going to explain how he thinks he's going to come back and be a world champion, or we're going to have the Beaker who needs to be put on suicide watch next week. Either way, it's going to be fun. You have a good one, Max. I'll talk to you later. Have fun at the Rally Championship.
That was the longest outro ever.
I know.
Okay.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you for listening to the No Name RC podcast. We greatly appreciate all the support and love from you, the listeners. Without all of you, none of this is possible. Special thanks to our patrons on Patreon. If you wish to support the podcast further, you can at patreon.com/NNRC podcast. As a patron, you will receive early releases, special content, and Patreon-only giveaways. Also, please follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and our website, www.nnrcpodcast.com. Remember, Nitro is the glory, but E-Buggy pays the bills. If you aren't having fun, it doesn't make sense. And if you ain't grinding, you're sliding. Lefty out. Nitro is the glory. Nitro is the glory. Nitro is the glory.
wasn't so bad.